Top 7 Deadliest Earthquakes in History. 1. 2010 Haiti 7 magnitude. At least 16,000 people died as a result of the Haitian earthquake of magnitude 7. Though the exact number of deaths is under question, some estimate it to be 20,000. Because of how strong the earthquake was, neighboring nations Venezuela and Cuba also experienced vibrations. It continues to rank among the worst natural disasters ever documented in history. As a result, hundreds of thousands of people in Haiti were displaced. Haiti earthquake of 2010, a significant quake that struck the nations of Haiti and the Dominican Republic on the West Indian island of Hispaniola on January 12, 2010. Haiti, which is located in the western portion of the island, was most badly impacted. In the subsequent turmoil, an accurate death toll proved difficult to come by. Although some estimates were much lower than the official tally of more than 300,000 by the Haitian government. Numerous survivors were forced to relocate. Approximately 25 kilometers, 15 miles, southwest of Port-au-Prince, the capital of Haiti, the earthquake struck at 4:53 p.m. Two aftershocks with magnitudes 5.9 and 5.5 were experienced shortly after the original earthquake, which had a magnitude of 7.0. In the days that followed, there were more earthquakes. The trembler was rather shallow, occurring at a depth of 8.1 miles, 13 kilometers, which amplified the amount of shaking at the Earth's surface. The Dominican Republic, Puerto Rico, Jamaica, sections of Cuba, and Haiti were all affected by the shocks. One of those hardest hit was the thickly populated area surrounding Port-au-Prince, which is situated on the Gulf of Gonave. Even closer to the epicenter than Port-au-Prince, the city of Léogâne, to the west, was virtually demolished. Further south, the city of Jacmel also suffered considerable damage. 2. 2004 Indonesia 9.1 magnitude. The tremendous 9.1 magnitude earthquake that shook Sumatra, Indonesia, ranks third in all-time earthquake power. There has never been a magnitude 10 earthquake recorded. At least 27,899 persons in Thailand, India, Sri Lanka, and Indonesia were killed by the earthquake. The worst hit country was Indonesia. The Indian Ocean earthquake also caused disastrous tsunamis that rose between 15 and 30 meters in height. A 9.1 magnitude underwater earthquake that struck off the coast of the Indonesian island of Sumatra on December 26, 2004, at 7:59 a.m. local time. Following the earthquake, a series of enormous ocean waves known as a tsunami spread over the Indian Ocean over the course of the following 7 hours, decimating coastal communities as far away as East Africa. In other places, it was reported that the waves had broken at a height of 30 feet, 9 meters, or higher. At least 225,000 people were killed by the tsunami in 12 different countries, with Indonesia, Thailand, Sri Lanka, India, and the Maldives suffering significant losses. Officials from Indonesia believed that the final death toll there alone approached 200,000, notably in the Aceh province of northern Sumatra. In India and Sri Lanka, tens of thousands of people were reported dead or missing, many of them from the Indian region of the Andaman and Nicobar Islands. Maldives, a low-lying island nation, reported over 100 fatalities and significant economic damage. There were also reports of many thousand non-Asian vacationers who were either dead or missing in the area. The number of casualties was expanded due to a lack of food, clean water, and medical care, as well as the overwhelming job relief workers faced trying to transport supplies into some isolated places where roads had been devastated or where civil war was raging. Long-term environmental damage was also significant, with villages, vacation spots, farms, and fishing grounds destroyed or flooded with trash, corpses, and salt water that kills plants. 3. 2008 China 7.9 magnitude. A magnitude 8.0 earthquake that struck beneath a hilly area in south-central China on May 12, 2008, caused buildings to collapse and landslides to crash into cities, killing close to 70,000 people. Due to the cheap and subpar building techniques employed in schools around the region, which resulted in hundreds of students being killed and injured, the 2008 Sichuan earthquake, also known as the 2008 Wenchuan earthquake, gained even greater notoriety. 10 years later, in severely damaged Baichuan County, the majority of survivors have moved to new homes that were constructed some 19 miles, 30 kilometers, distant from the current ruins, which are slowly being taken over by nature. 4. 2011 Japan 9.1 magnitude. Japan was the site of the second 9.1 magnitude earthquake ever recorded. The ensuing tsunami claimed the lives of about 18,000 individuals. A nuclear crisis was also caused by the earthquake's destruction to the Fukushima nuclear power facility. Victims whose bodies were never found. The catastrophic earthquake was the third highest magnitude on record worldwide since 1900 and was the greatest magnitude ever recorded in Japan. According to the U.S. Geological Survey, the 2011 incident was caused by thrust faulting on the subduction zone plate boundary between the Pacific and North American plates. There is a high rate of seismic activity in this area, which could cause tsunamis. The devastating quakes of 1611, 1896, and 1933 were among several that caused tsunamis in the area. In the Iwate Prefecture, the March 11, 2011, earthquake caused a tsunami with a maximum wave height of over 40 meters, 130 feet. A 2,000-kilometer, 1,242-mile section of Japan's Pacific coast was found to have been affected by the tsunami, according to researchers. 3 Fukushima Daiichi reactors' cooling and power supplies were cut off by a tsunami after the earthquake, leading to a serious nuclear disaster. In the first 3 days, the 3 nuclear cores melted almost completely. The Great East Japan incident resulted in 15,899 fatalities, 2,527 missing and believed dead, and 6,157 wounded, according to the Japan National Police Agency as of December 2020. More than 123,000 homes were completely destroyed and over 1 million more were damaged as a result of the incident in Japan. The tsunami was to blame for 98% of the damage. $220 billion USD was estimated to be the cost of the earthquake and tsunami in Japan alone. The 2011 Great East Japan earthquake and tsunami are the most costly natural disasters in recorded history due to the destruction. 5. 2015 Nepal 7.8 magnitude. Strong earthquakes affected various nations throughout the year, making it clear that the world had a dreadful year. Over 8,000 people were murdered and hundreds of thousands of more were displaced by a 7.8 earthquake in Nepal. The deadliest natural calamity to affect Nepal since 1934 was this one. A magnitude 7.8 earthquake that strikes Nepal on April 25, 2015 leaves almost 9,000 people dead and 16,800 injured. The earthquake was the worst of its kind to hit the Asian nation since 1934. A dozen aftershocks that occurred following the initial earthquake, which happened just before midday, added to the carnage. In total, Nepal saw hundreds of aftershocks, with the strongest occurring on May 12 and with a magnitude of 7.3. Amounting to 19 fatalities, the avalanche caused by the earthquake on Mount Everest. More than 800,000 dwellings had been demolished and more than 298,000 had been damaged by the time the tremors stopped. Many famous buildings were also damaged by the earthquake, including the Durbar Square in the capital. A total of 2.8 million individuals were forced to leave their homes because of the destruction or their fear of further shocks. Many of them, unable to go back to their houses, moved into tent cities. Nearly a third of Nepal's population, or 8 million people, were said to have been impacted by the earthquake and its aftershocks. Soon after the initial shocks, the Nepalese government proclaimed a state of emergency, and nearly the entire army mobilized to conduct a search and rescue mission. The United Nations and dozens of other nations all sent money and aid. Unfortunately, there were numerous roadblocks in the path of the repairs. Accessing rural communities was particularly difficult due to traffic and a lack of vehicles like trucks and helicopters. Rebuilding operations were also bogged down by political disputes and a lack of materials. 6.1998 Afghanistan's 6.6 magnitude. Just a few months apart, 2 earthquakes devastated the Hindu Kush region of Afghanistan this year. This is on our list because the Hindu Kush region, where the current disaster is occurring, was struck by the worst earthquake in recent memory. Approximately 2,300 people perished in the first earthquake that struck Takhar province in February. Some estimate the casualties at 4,000. A second 6.6 magnitude earthquake that occurred in the same area in May claimed the lives of about 4,700 people. According to the results of the most recent assessment, 24 villages with a combined population of over 32,000 people were impacted by the earthquake on February 4, magnitude 6.1 on the Richter scale, which struck the Rustok district in Takhar province about 50 kilometers from the border with Tajikistan. The 9 settlements with the most serious damage are home to about 17,600 people. The local authorities have reported that 2,323 individuals have died, 818 have been injured, 8,094 have had their homes damaged, and 3.083 have had their cattle murdered. 7. 1960 Chile 9.5 magnitude. The strongest earthquake ever recorded in history, with a magnitude of 9.5, occurred in Chile. The accident, which claimed between 1,000 and 6,000 lives, lasted for around 10 minutes. The 1960 Chile earthquake was the biggest earthquake ever recorded in human history. The temblor, which had its epicenter off the coast of southern Chile on May 22, 1960, resulted in significant destruction and fatalities there as well as in nearby Pacific coastal regions as a result of the tsunamis it sparked. The Nazca Plate, which subducted beneath the South American Plate, was the estimated 560 to 620 mile, 900 to 1,000 kilometers, length of land where the earthquake's fault displacement source was located. These numbers are primarily based on post hoc analysis because the earthquake occurred just before a revolution in seismologic equipment in the 1960s. Numerous cities in Chile suffered severe damage, notably Valdivia, where over half of the structures were deemed inhabitable, and Puerto Montt, where there was obvious sinking. Even while the earthquake caused some damage, most deaths were caused by a tsunami that descended 15 minutes later and reached up to 80 feet, 25 meters. High on the length of Chilean coastline that ran parallel to the subducting plate and was bordered by the cities of Lebu and Puerto Aysen. 2 million people were left homeless as a result of the disaster's combined impacts. Early estimates that ranged into the thousands were trimmed back to 1,655 despite the fact that the death toll was never completely determined. 3,000 persons were hurt.